Today for you, I'm going to make a coconut chutney. You might have seen this or even had this if you've ever eaten any kind of South Indian specialties like dosa or idli or vada. You usually get like a dal like sambar and then some chutney with it. Well, today I'm going to show you how to make that chutney. This is a really delicious but very easy chutney to make, and it doesn't take that long. And because I've used some pantry staples and some easily available items, it comes together very quickly. So come along as we make our coconut chutney. So this chutney is made in two parts. The first part, we're gonna blend all the ingredients together, and then the second part is we're going to add a tempering to the blended chutney. And tempering just means you heat a oil, a little bit of oil, add some spices to it, and then pour over the chutney that you have blended. So still very easy, but just know that this is two parts. So for the first part, so to make the actual chutney, I have about 3/4 cup of frozen coconut. Using frozen coconut is really easy because you don't have to do any work. You don't have to shred anything. So I'm using the frozen coconut for this chutney. And then I have, so that's about 3/4 cup of frozen shredded coconut. Then I have about half a cup of chana, roasted chickpeas, and they're also called dalia or chana. This is like the eating chana. It's not chana dal, but it's the roasted chana. And then I have half a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of salt. You can always adjust the salt. I have about half a teaspoon of black pepper. And then I have handful of coriander leaves. Handful means about half a cup. And I use the stalks as well because that has a lot of flavor in it. And then I have about 5-6 leaves of mint. And then I have 3 green chilies. Again, this is optional, meaning that if you cannot eat spicy, then you can maybe put half a chili, or if you want really spicy, then add more. But I don't recommend more than 3. These are really hot chilies. So then you want to taste the coconut. You don't want just to taste the heat. So let's go ahead and blend all this, and then we'll do our second part. So to make this chutney, today I'm using frozen coconut. It's frozen shredded coconut. Just makes it much easier than having to shred a coconut like a fresh coconut. So this is just makes it very easy because it's already shredded and you don't have to do any prep work. So that's what we'll be using today. The chana dal that I'm using, it's not actually a dal, it's the chana that you eat. So this is the roasted split chickpeas, and it's also called dalia. So that basically it's the chana, roasted chana with the covering removed. So this is the one I used today in the recipe. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add all my heavy ingredients first. That way it blends much nicer than if I added the leaves first. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the coconut and the spices, and then I'm going to add my coriander and mint and the green chilies. So this is so easy. It's like takes 5 minutes if you have all the ingredients. And this chutney, to be honest, is much better than the one you get at the Indian restaurants because this is so much tastier. By adding the mint, it gives you the mixture of the green mint chutney you get and the coconut chutney you get all in one. So this is a really good tasting chutney. So definitely worth making it at home versus buying it from like the store or eating it at the restaurant. This is really yummy. All right, so I'm gonna add a little bit of water and 1 ice cube, and then blend it. The reason I'm adding the ice cube is so that the coconut doesn't get heated and start releasing the oils. So I'm gonna add 1 ice cube and a little bit of ice water. So initially the amount of water I added was about 1 tablespoon and about 2 ice cubes. And then if I need more, I'll add more, but I don't want to add too much in the beginning because I don't want this to be watery. So this is the first blend and you want the chutney to be very smooth. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another couple teaspoon to 1 tablespoon of water and then see where it's going. Okay, so we want to achieve this kind of consistency. And as you can see, everything is nice and blended, but there's still a little bit of chunkiness inside. And for reaching this consistency, I used a total of 4 tablespoons of water and then the 2 ice cubes I had added initially. If you want it more smoother, you can add a little bit more water, but only add like 1 tablespoon at a time until the consistency you want has been reached. Okay, so halfway through taking the chutney out from the blender, I realized I had forgotten to add a key ingredient, which is what adds the sourness to this chutney, and that is tamarind paste. So this is a tamarind concentrate, and I'm using about 1/2 teaspoon of that. If you're using any other form of tamarind, like maybe tamarind water or using fresh tamarind and getting your own water, then I would add about 1 teaspoon. But because this is concentrated, I'm adding only 1/2 teaspoon, and I'll add a little bit of water so it blends everything nicely. So I'm glad I realized it before it was too late. Now, if you forget to add the tamarind, no worries. Don't add it as an afterthought after the chutney and everything is made. Then you can just put some lemon juice and that's fine too. So to make our tempering, we need a few curry leaves, and these are not optional. This dish requires curry leaves, but I think I've shown you in one of my previous videos that I just buy a packet of curry leaves and keep it in the freezer, and then whenever I need it, I just take them out. So that comes really handy. So these are just, I took them out of the freezer and just gave it a nice rinse. I also have 2 dried red chilies, and then I have 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seeds, 1/4 teaspoon of urad dal, and then 1/4 teaspoon of the chana, that dal that we put in when we blended the chutney. These 2 things are optional. If you don't have it, that's fine. The mustard seeds are needed, and then the curry leaves are needed. So all I'm going to do is heat up 1 tablespoon of oil in a deep pan so it doesn't splutter. And when it gets hot, I'm going to add the mustard seeds, the chana dal, and the urad dal, and then the curry leaves and the red chili peppers. And then once everything splutters, I'm gonna just pour that over the bowl of chutney. Okay, our oil is sufficiently hot, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add the dry ingredients, the spices, and I'm gonna let this sizzle for a bit until those 2 dals get a little bit of reddish brown, and then I'll add the leaves and the chili peppers, and I'll turn it off and then pour that over the bowl of chutney. Okay. And don't walk away because this literally takes seconds. And we're done. When I add these leaves, it's gonna splutter, so be careful. And then turn it off. Give this 2 seconds and then pour it over. And as you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and pour all this on top. And our chutney is done. So start to finish, less than 10 minutes. And it's a very delicious homemade coconut chutney with a hint of mint. Please give this a try. I promise you it is really worth it. Making it because it is really delicious and much, much tastier than anything you can buy in this store. You can eat this chutney with dosa, with idli, or as a sandwich spread. I've done that before. It tastes really great. So, you can eat this with anything. It's really delicious. So please give it a try, and don't forget to share and subscribe to Falcone Reviews. And I really hope you enjoy making this dish.